I was watching a show the other day where Oprah Winfrey was discussing the topic of children being estranged from their parents. And something that I found to be incredibly interesting was they interviewed several psychologists and therapists and several parents that were estranged from their kids. And then they also interviewed children that were estranged from their parents. They even interviewed a few influencers that had channels discussing this topic. They even interviewed a parent that had a channel discussing this topic, which I thought was very interesting. Um, and it was almost like ironic. Some of the things that they were saying were proof in and of themselves of why these people were estranged from their children. One of the situations that I found to be incredibly awkward was a couple of the therapists even said, well, if the parent did this or if the parent did that, then it's okay for the child to be estranged from their parent. The reason why I thought that was so ironic is because it's not, you don't have the right to give the child permission. And it seems like this is what people are missing, right? Like, if the child is an adult and none of these children, still lived with their parent, of course, if the child decides they don't want to speak to you anymore, they don't need your permission. Like, you don't have the authority or the right to tell them, well, it's okay if you don't speak to me anymore. They just don't speak to you anymore. They're adults. They're grown people. And this idea that the title of parent somehow gives you some sort of authority or right to have access to that individual is false. It's over. Those days are gone. I am in my 50s and I am also estranged from my parents. I haven't spoken to my mom in over 20 years. I haven't spoken to my father since 2018. And it would be like one of them contacting me saying, well, it's okay if you don't speak to us. My reaction to that would not be pleasant. It would be a lot of foul language and then me hanging up in their face, or a lot of foul language be telling them to never contact me again and then hanging up in their face. I don't need their permission. And this is where it seems like our entire society has like missed the boat on this, right? Like when you have trained professionals even acting like someone needs permission, an adult needs permission to not speak to their children anymore, that's crazy. Like, you don't have the authority to give me that permission. You don't have the right to give me that permission. I don't need your permission. I have children myself. And if my children tomorrow decided to stop speaking to me, so be it. Like, my life doesn't revolve around my adult children, and I don't expect their lives to revolve around me either. And I don't understand why people don't grasp that. Um, you, a child does not owe their parent anything. When you have a child for yourself, for you. You're doing it for yourself. You're not feeling empathy for a being that has not even been created yet. You're having a child for you, not for them. Having a child is realistically a pretty selfish act in a lot of ways. And it's just amazing to me how people don't grasp that. Anyway, I just really wanted to talk about that because it's something that's personal to me. It's something I've dealt with a lot in my own lifetime. And it amazes me that people still aren't grasping the concept that your adult child does not need your permission for anything. Like, if they don't want to speak to you anymore, they don't have to speak to you anymore. Anyway, have a good day.